It's Blanco and
Abby the Baker.
And today we are making your homemade
Apple pie.
Yes. And this is one of our favorite desserts for Thanksgiving.
So yummy. Right about now, everybody wants something baked and yummy, so we decided to make some fresh apple pie. We're New Yorkers, we're from the Big Apple.
So why not make apple pie? So we are going to show you guys how to make your apple pie. The ingredients will be listed in the description box. And no, this is not honey. This is vanilla. Okay? So
it's mixed with a little bit of fruit.
Okay. All right. Spice it up. So stay tuned, and we are making our homemade apple pies. So we are going to start off with brushing on our butter very lightly, and we're just going to brush it onto our pie crust. Now this is Pillsbury pie crust. This is not homemade. However, you can do either or and still follow the instructions. Next, we are going to sprinkle on our flour mixed with baking powder, or you can use cornstarch as well. And we are going to lightly take some butter and brush it onto our rolling pin. This way it will help it not stick and be able to roll on out very smoothly. Yeah, this recipe is just really super easy. Just have your ingredients and make it do what it do. You don't have to be a baker, but it's very simple. So once your dough is nicely flat and smooth, then you are going to take more of that butter, glide it onto that crust, then dip it into that vanilla extract, because we want our dough to be nicely glazed, and I want to say nicely like seasoned with our sugar, cinnamon, vanilla, nutmeg, you know, all those flavors combined in one. So this is the crust, this is the foundation. So, you know, you want to sauce it on up, because the crust is the best part to me. So now we're going to just take some brown sugar and we are going to sprinkle that on top of the dough. And once you get the desired amount that you want onto your pie crust, then we are just going to take that same brush and just lightly spread it on the dough. We just want to make sure it's just smooth out. There are no clumps of the brown sugar. And the brown sugar also helps give that crust that nice that look when it's done. That apple pie melanin look. So I already went ahead and peeled my apples. I use Gala apples, red apples, and I nicely diced them up. Now you can use red or green apples. Then you're going to take your cinnamon, place that on top of that pie crust as well. Because like I said, this is where that flavor is going to stimulate from, y'all. We're just going to nicely brush that and just blend it all together. So far we use flour, some butter, vanilla extract, brown sugar, and cinnamon. And now it's time to take the cookie cutter. And now it's time to make our pie crust. However, I didn't want the sides of that cookie cutter, so I'm going to improvise, because as you can see, it was a little bit too small for my pan. My pan is a little bit wider. So I'm going to improvise, and I'm going to use a lid from my pot. Now, if you don't have a lid, I'm pretty sure you have a bowl or you have a big cup at home, and you could just use that to easily cut out that dough. Okay, so as you can see, the one that we're placing in now is from the lid cover. The one on the left hand side is the first one with the cookie cutter. I just wanted it to come out to just be a little bit more wider. So So once you cut it out, you want to now just place it into that muffin pan. So you're just gonna kind of mold it and just make sure it's just laying flat and pressed out against the muffin pan. I'm sorry. And now once that is done, let me tell you, your scraps, you can go ahead, blend it all back together and make a new crust. If you don't have enough dough, you can always just boil it up and just roll it on out and reuse the dough. Or you can just save it for another project. Now, as you can see, those two look more marbleized because we had mixed it in with the dough in the rolling pin. Now it's time to move on to our caramelized apples, okay? This is what makes our apple pie so good, so sweet, and just full of flavor. So I'm gonna start off with using butter. You wanna melt your butter and you wanna add in your apple slices. Now, I did use 3 to 4 apples for this particular 6 pan of muffins. And we are going to season it up with vanilla extract, more brown sugar, more cinnamon, a little bit of nutmeg, and one more thing. The key to this is to use lemon, that citrus from the lemon, and that like lemon zesty kind of flavor is gonna break up that sweetness and give it that a little bit of tart, a little bit of sweet. So you want to just use half of lemon and squeeze it. We did make a mistake and use a whole lemon and it came out a little bit too tart, so then you have to keep playing around and adding more sugar. So just use half of lemon to be mindful, and just keep tasting it as you go. You'll know as you go. You just keep tasting that caramelized apple and you'll see if it's too sweet or if it's too tart. And I let that simmer for 5 to 10 minutes. Once the apples are nice and soft, you can turn off your flame. Now, by now, your house should be smelling so good because you'll smell those flavors, that aroma of those caramelized apples. Now, I'm taking my pizza pie crust cutter and we are going to use that to layer the top of our crust. And we'll get into that in a few seconds. First, you want to go ahead, take those caramelized apples, place it into that pan with that nice crust. And I'm just placing a generous amount. I'm just making sure it's all evenly distributed. Now, I told you we cut up little pieces, and now this part is called the weaving part. So it's kind of like you have to look at it to see it's like in and out, crisscross. You can do whatever you want, whatever kind of design. You can YouTube it, Google it. But however, we just did like a tic-tac-toe board kind of. Y'all, I'm telling you, this recipe was just so easy. Now we're taking a little bit of that melted butter, vanilla extract, more cinnamon. We're going to lightly brush the top of our crust just to give it that nice flavor to sit on top and to give it a nice color. And then we're going to top it off with brown sugar or white sugar. And now you should place this into your oven for 15 to 20 minutes on 400 degrees. And your apple pie should be ready and just smelling good and just gorgeous. Do you see it? It's just so melanin. Look at it. It looks beautifully bronzed. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Happy holidays. Happy Thanksgiving. Stay safe. Don't go around.